Good evening. It is day number 4 of the Staying Well Through the 4 Elements during the COVID-19 outbreak, and it is the fire element this evening that we're going to be talking about. Welcome. Thank you for watching and listening. Fire encompasses so many different sub-elements in that some people think it's where the mind, the thoughts reside, and I concur with that. But the fluidity of wherever you want to place a certain aspect is totally fine and up to you. And really, fire element is all about energy. It's about the energy. So mental energy, physical energy, but really the overarching energy, which is chi, or the life force. And that is in every single living thing and being. And things including inanimate objects. The practice of Reiki, and I'm a Reiki master and have been really blessed with having that attunement through all the 3 levels to the master level for the past 23 years now, since 1997. I have seen so much amazing change and shift through utilizing Reiki energy on inanimate objects. It's quite mind-blowing. It's the things that really do cause people to say, wow, that's pretty out there. That's pretty out there. It's like, it is out there because the energy is always out there and it's always moving through us. And Qi, which is the Chinese word for life force energy, is, as I said, in all things, all beings. And Reiki is a Japanese term that is actually comprised of 2 different words, Rei and Ki, R-E-I, which very, very loosely translates to spiritually guided or flowing. And then Ki, K-I, is the Japanese spelling for Qi, or life force energy. So you put the 2 together and it is spiritually guided or flowing life force energy. The truth is, we all not only, of course, have Qi flowing through our beings, but we also have the capability, an innate capability, to sense energy, to connect with it, to flow with it. And my belief and what I've seen throughout so many years is that it's not that, oh, some people are gifted. Other people have, oh, well, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. It's actually, we get that sense turned off. Or we turn it off for some reason. Perhaps there's an experience that we've had that freaks us out for whatever reason. Perhaps it's a traumatic experience, unfortunately, that we end up shutting down. So we shut down the ability and desire, oftentimes, to tune in to that energy and that flow, so that we are then shut off from seeing, feeling, sensing, and honestly utilizing that to our benefit and to others' benefit. And I'm not indicating that everybody is to go out and get their Reiki attunements, as they're called, and study through those 3 levels. It's simply tuning into what we do innately already know and pulling apart and pulling away those layers and the blocks that we have to hide those and to disconnect. It's a disconnect is the bottom line. We've got to disconnect with that. And I think incorporated in certainly in energy, in that mind, the thought realm is our intuition, which is tied into sometimes to our spirituality, our belief system, or what have you. My dad referred to it as, my inner voice, my little inner voice. He'd say, my inner voice is telling me, and his inner voice was spot on. And he was very attuned to that. And energetically paying attention to the energy that we feel within us, the sense that we have. We've all had an experience of, it might be hearing a story, or it might be going into a room or talking with maybe someone, and you have that sense of, it's like, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. Well, that is your essence. That is your energy that is speaking and is causing you to pay attention and asking you to pay attention, actually, so that you can tune into that and to go, okay, I'm going to pay attention to that, because boy, now the important piece, what am I feeling in my body besides maybe that tearing up of the hairs on the back of our neck, or we get goosebumps, or we just kind of get an uneasy feeling in our gut. The paying attention is, I believe it's very tied into our primal self, and that part of us that does know, and using the word there, which is G-N-O-W, spelled G-N-O-W as opposed to K-N-O-W, which is a word. It's actually an ancient English word from way back when we were all quite a bit more tuned into our thoughts and the energies around us and within us. And that G-N-O-W refers to, conveniently using that consonant, it refers to our gut knowing. It refers to that innate sensing ability that we all have, as opposed to the knowing, K-N-O-W, which is the brain, intellectual, left brain knowing. So paying attention to that gut knowing, slowing down, connecting with it. And again, what is the body telling us? How's the body responding? And taking that, you can just train yourself by practicing it, that in a few, literally like nanoseconds almost, you can just, boom, just pull inside and think, okay, what's going on? What am I feeling in my body right now? Oh, I'm feeling some fear, or gee, I'm just feeling uneasy, or I'm not feeling safe. Utilizing that energy of knowing to connect with the outer energies can take us such a long way. And I referred to just a few moments ago about how when we are unplugged and disconnected from that gut knowing, and we've closed ourselves off, we've shut ourselves down to a certain degree, in varying degrees, we've all done that. It's primarily for safety, for our safety. And that there was, again, something that was frightening or maybe was traumatic. And we say, okay, I'm not going there anymore. Whether it is an actual place that you're not going, or I'm not going to feel that again. And are also feeling ill-equipped to deal with that type of situation. And in so much of the work that I've done with clients over the years, and really the longest term and deepest client that I've worked with, client in quotation marks, is myself. And the very diligent work in pulling off those blankets, layers of protection that have kept me from going into that deep self, to know what is my true self, what's my higher self, what is Heather on high, as I sometimes call it. You can call it your wild self, or your true self, what have you. That's the part of us that knows, that really both knows intellectually, but yet also knows in our belly. And the working of those two aspects together is what helps us move into our life of our dreams, of the desires that we have, and really being able to tackle, for lack of a better word, tackle the challenges and come at the challenges that we have, to overcome them, or see it's like, oh, well, that's really not as much of a challenge as it is an opportunity to take a different look at this and see, okay, so I do know that I have the skills to go in to deal with that conversation with that person, or what have you. So I'm talking about this in the interconnectedness of mind and the gut knowing and the heart knowing, and how it's all connected, right? It's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's the intuitive piece, so that we can be aware as we're going through our days. And again, no greater time to be utilizing this ability, uncovering this ability, kind of playing with it, be light with it, this ability to check in with ourselves and assess just so quickly, wow, I'm really feeling a lot of fear around this whole unknowing situation that we're in with the quarantine and so on, and what's going to happen tomorrow, and what's going to be the update, and how long is this going to last. And all of it pulling us back to that space within ourselves that is the center of our chi, so that we can come then back out after making those assessments and making decisions that we're aware of about our surroundings and the actions we are to take or not take. And there are a number of ways that we can, number of tools, I should say, that we can utilize. Oh, so many tools that we can utilize to help us dig down underneath those layers and levels, and really work with those pathways of energy in our being. And excuse me, drink some water here. Many, I'm sure you may be well familiar with, or at least partially familiar with, acupuncture, one of my favorite modalities, in how it connects our bodies, literally energy freeways, as I call them. If you've ever seen an acupuncture or acupressure meridian chart, which is the body, and then has all the lines going up and down and different pathways, and those meridians and the different points on those meridians that relate to different organs in the Chinese system, in traditional Chinese medicine, and what they trigger by having those points activated with the needle. And the activation really is a dissolving of any congestion or clogging around those points. It's just fascinating to me, the whole practice of acupuncture and the complexity And yet it's also very simple. It just makes sense the more you start like talking with an acupuncturist. Maybe you have an acupuncturist that you work with, not right now, but having that experience, I highly recommend, even just for the feeling of once you've completed a treatment, oh my gosh, it's having the feeling of your entire body and being as one and integrated. It's amazing. And the level of relaxation is crazy off the charts. So once those acupuncturists are available again for us to have treatments, very good way to help release some of this tension and stress that's been building up. There's also, without the use of needles, is acupressure. So it's working with those same points along the meridians and the freeways, if you will. You can find charts online and so on. For example, this is like honestly like the only one that I classically remember, and that is the web. It's so weird, I gotta say, what I see on my screen versus what you see in the whole is very different. I have all I can see is my head and a little bit on the side, so I can't tell what you're seeing. If you can see the web right here between the thumb and index finger. So by putting, and the pressure is not super hard, it's just some pressure. So this point is for constipation and to help your elimination system get flowing and moving and grooving again, which is what Chi is all about. Chi loves movement. It does not like to be stagnant. That takes us into another bit, which is Feng Shui. But just to complete that, in just holding that point, and some folks may well be experiencing that tightening, that constricting, the constipation, both elimination, but of our thoughts and our emotions and actions because of what we're walking through right now in these times. And so to help open that up, to help, okay, let's get the flow going again. Let's move it. Let's get it flowing. It's got to be moving. You don't want things stuck energetically or physically. Let's keep moving it along. So Feng Shui, let's move a little bit away from the body, which we'll also go back to. But the practice of Feng Shui is, again, ancient art. And it is also about getting the chi moving in a beneficial and productive way, whether it's in your office, in your home, in your space around your home, your outside space. There's a magnificent practitioner, a dear friend of mine, Gwen Warner, and she practices west of Portland. Her work is entitled 10,000 Blessings Feng Shui, and I highly recommend her newsletters and connecting with her. It's just a wealth of information that you can put to use that talks about seasonal changes and so on. And I will put that web link in the comments after we're done here. So Feng Shui, again, it's all about, where's that stagnant energy? Where's that stuck energy? Where's that energy that's not flowing and not moving? And what can I do to clear it? Clear the clutter, which, yes, it can be physical clutter, but it's also energetic clutter. So another practice there. And it's also, I just want to say one more thing about Feng Shui. People think that Feng Shui, we've gotten more understanding because it's become a bit more much more westernized in how we've started to adopt different principles in our society from the Far East. And it's not about just moving furniture Or it's not about, oh, I have to go buy all this new stuff. It's like you can do all kinds of things to help clear and clean the energy. And what I mentioned on the first night's episode was the practice of in the morning, first thing in the morning, or it can be later in the day, but really great doing it first thing in the morning is opening up windows and doors of your home so that you get the stale air out and the fresh air coming in, and you get all those blessings that you're welcoming in. That's very much a Feng Shui practice. Okay. Another really, really fabulous technique and tip tool is tapping, also known as EFT. Got a really dry throat today. Maybe because I've been talking a bit too much today. I had 2 calls today. So EFT is a combination of, this is kind of the way I like to explain it. It's a combination of energetic and also like acupressure. And you may have seen instructions on how to do it. There's some wonderful information excuse me, at thetappingsolution.com. Wonderful. There's also a movie by that title, The Tapping Solution. And it's, doing tapping. Again, it's not hard. It's simply making physical contact, but you're actually activating points. And then there's certain like clearing statements and little like tapping routines, if you will, that you go through. But a series of positions on the body. So typically starts with what's called the karate chop point here on the side of the hand, and then moving to the top of the head, and then another that's an eyebrow, side of the eye, under the nose, under the lips, and then just barely below the collarbone. That's my point that I love. You don't even have to do a whole series of points. Sometimes if I'm just feeling like, ooh, something's weird, I can just start tapping on that point. And I like to use both hands. It just feels more balanced to me. But tapping right below the collarbone and then underneath like the armpit. So on the side of your torso, underneath your armpit. And that's the circuit. And even if you don't know a script or you don't know, words to follow, what have you, just doing those, just going through those points or finding a point on your body that is like, oh, that feels good to just kind of do that over my eyebrow, And I like to do an alternating, and that helps. So that's another opening technique, as well as tapping into some of those deeper layers. Very effective technique. And doing these little overviews, I also want to mention for sure tonight the importance of remembering your companion animals in the energy. For those of you that have dogs, cats, especially, those are the 2 companions I'm most familiar with, and how they transmute so much of our energy, as well as can be giving us all kinds of clues about what's going on. And they're great medicine and teachers. Remember how much our energy affects them. And, you can do Reiki for your animals and acupuncture for your animals, but being mindful of their energy too. They are in the home with us. So what's in here affects them. And just keep them in the loop. and be mindful of them. That's it for now, just because I'm wanting to keep it at around a half an hour. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I will put those two links, the tappingsolution.com and 10,000 blessings Feng Shui.com. It's actually 10K blessings, fengshui.com. So have a great evening. Be good to yourself. Be safe. Please be safe. And know that we're all doing our very best. And be good to yourself and to one another. Spread lots of love and do what we can to support our neighbors, our friends, our families. Be good to yourself, ultimately, and most importantly, so that you can be of support to others. Cheers.